There are places where time forgets to move, where light cuts through the dark, but never quite reaches the soul. Stannard Rock is one of them, a tower in the middle of nowhere, closer to the dead than the living. They say men who go there leave differently, if they leave at all. Some say the storm drives you mad, others say it's the silence. But I know better. It's the heart. And once you hear it, you can never unhear it. This tale is inspired by one of the darkest whispers ever penned, an adaptation of Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart.
It was the year 1887, during the brutal tail end of November. The wind howled across Lake Superior like a vengeful spirit, dragging sheets of sleet and ice across the waters. Waves broke against the rocks with the fury of cannon fire, and the sky never seemed to clear. Stannard Rock Lighthouse, remote, God-forsaken, and battered by the elements, stood like a grave marker for lost men. I had been sent there not for honor, but for penance. A disciplinary transfer, they called it. The truth? I had a reputation. Alcohol, disobedience, a brawl or two back on the mainland. The Navy gave me a choice: rot in a brig or serve the winter rotation with an old sea dog named Jonas Marsh. So, I came. Jonas was quiet, a veteran of many winters in that damned beacon. A man built of salt and silence. He never smiled, and he watched everything with those eyes, milky and pale from age or illness. That eye, that cursed cloudy eye, I could never escape it. I told myself it was nothing, just a cataract. But when the storm would roll in and the foghorn groaned like a dying beast, that eye would catch the lamplight just so, and I swear it would glow. I began to dread the nights, the way he'd sit in that narrow bunk, sharpening his tools or smoking that bitter pipe of his. He never spoke of his past, nor did he ask about mine. The silence between us stretched long, broken only by the ticking of the brass chronometer or the endless pounding of the waves. But it was the eye, always the eye. By the third week, something in me started to change. It wasn't madness. No, don't say that. I know madness. I've seen men driven to it in the desert, in war. This was different. It was clarity. Each time that eye looked at me, I felt seen. Not in body, but in soul. Like it knew who I truly was, what I had done, what I had failed to become. I tried to shake it off. I tried to drink it away. But even the whiskey, smuggled in under my coat, turned bitter under his gaze. I began to plan, not out of anger, not out of hate, but to rid myself of that infernal stare. A man cannot survive winter under the scrutiny of God, or the devil. Each night, while Jonas slept, I would rise from my bunk and open the hatch to the lantern room above. I moved silently, like fog along the rocks. I'd watch him for hours, waiting for the right moment. But each time, he'd wake and mutter something low, some gibberish about tides or flame, and I'd retreat, heart pounding like a bell. Still, the eye haunted me. I could feel it watching, even when it was shut. The storm came with no warning. A black squall from the north, hammering the lighthouse with a fury I'd never seen. Waves crashed over the lower steps, and the wind screamed through the cracks like a banshee. Jonas had gone to bed early, mumbling about old bones and colder nights. I stood below, staring up the iron staircase, hands trembling. Not from cold, but from resolve. I moved quietly, carefully. The lantern in my hand cast long shadows on the curved walls as I ascended. I could hear his breathing, deep and steady. The eye was open, dim, ghostly, watching, judging. My heart thundered as I crossed the threshold. I acted quickly. Pillows, hands, silence. He struggled. God forgive me, but only for a moment. Then, stillness. The eye. It no longer watched. I waited. 10 long minutes. The storm raged on. And then, I laughed. Not with joy, but with relief. A burden had lifted. The eye was gone. I took care to hide the body. Beneath the floorboards, under the heavy tools in the maintenance bay. I scrubbed the blood. I oiled the hinges. Everything perfect, clean, quiet. When the supply boat came in spring, they would say he vanished in the storm, lost to the lake like so many before. But it didn't end there. No, something remained. The light above, steady at first, began to flicker. The machinery groaned, though I had repaired it all. I heard knocking beneath the floorboards. At first, I told myself it was rats, wood swelling in the cold. But it was there. Thump. A low, rhythmic beat. Thump. Like the sound of his cane striking stone. Thump. Or a heart, buried and beating still. It followed me everywhere. In the foghorn's moan, in the wind through the vents, in the pulse behind my ears. I tore up the boards. Nothing. I smashed the lantern. Still it beat. I screamed into the dark. "Do you hear it?" I shouted to the gulls, the storm, the lake itself. "It's not real." But it was. It is. It beats now. Not from the floor, but from within my chest.